What's going on, YouTube? OCD for EDC here. And what I got for your face balls today, we're talking Manix. Specifically, this model right here, which is the brand new for 2020. This is, I don't remember what they're calling this orange, if they're just calling it orange or burnt orange or something, but it's kind of a dull orange color. But most importantly, this is in CPM Rex 45. And if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, you know that I like the Manix. It's my favorite Spyderco knife. I really like the bearing lock, access style lock. It just is a great knife. Action on it's perfect. And because I'm left-handed, compression locks don't really do it for me. So although I think it's a good locking mechanism, and it's fine. It's just really made for right-handed people. Here is a compression lock model. This is the, I think this was a Knife Joker exclusive, if I remember correctly. But this is the Spyderco Shaman. And this one is rocking CPM Crew Wear with forest green G10 scales. And you can see overall length is pretty close. The Manix and the Shaman are both really close in size. I should probably put the smaller one on top if I'm going to do that, huh? So you can see there that the Shaman has a little bit of length on it. Certainly has a little more cutting edge, but yeah, really close. So we're here to talk about this Manix, and we're actually going to do a little bit of work on it. But I have a stock Manix here, and I wanted to show something off. So I noticed when I was looking at this Manix that this isn't just a stock Manix. Never mind the blade steel and the color. I want to show you something here, and I don't know if people have already been talking about this or not, but this is just a standard Manix 2 in S30V, and I want to show you here. The weight is 4.94 ounces, and like I said, I like the Manix. It's a little heavy for what it is, but I think the weight is totally suitable. However, this particular Manix, which is, it's not the lightweight version or anything, it's just the standard Manix, but it does have Rex 45 and G10, just like this one. Put this on the scale, 4.295 ounces. So we have a difference of, 6.5 or 0.65 ounces. So, yeah, we're going to get into why that is. And I'm also going to install, I've got a titanium ball cage to put in this knife because this one here I am going to keep. And I've done this video before of installing the Flytanium ball cage, and a lot of people struggle with the Manix because it's a difficult knife to work on, but I'm going to show you an easy way to do this. And like I said, I have put this video out before, but we're going to do it again because, well, I'm excited for this new Manix. So, and we're going to see what the weight differences here are. So the first things you want to do, now I always do this from this side of the knife. So it comes, this is just the way it came out of the box. The clip is in right side tip up orientation. So opposite of that, I pull those 3 screws out. And then at that point, you can just lift the scale and the liner and get it up past the ball cage and then rotate it out of the way. Just like so. I'm going to set this one right here, and we're going to do the same thing on this knife because I'm going to show you the difference in these two knives, which is pretty interesting. I am not sure if this is going to just be on all Manix Manix 2s moving forward. But yeah. Alright, so I did the same thing, removed those 3 screws the exact same way, and now I'm just not really aggressively, just enough to get the scale up above that ball cage and rotate it off to the side. So the reason you can't just pull the scale off is because they're pressed into this lanyard tube here, and it's a pretty tight fit. You can get it off of there, but there's just no reason to do that for what we're doing here. So you can see there they ride on phosphor bronze washers. I'm just going to move this washer back onto the blade so I don't lose it. All right, and the knife will stay together in this orientation. The ball is captured in there, so you have to, doing it this way, you have to lift the blade and the ball cage at the same time, which I'll show you that here in a moment. But what I wanted to show you is the difference in these 2 knives. So I'm going to rotate this just a little bit more, and we can see here that we have full stainless steel liners on the Manix 2. This is how all Manix 2s are constructed, with the exception of the lightweight Manix 2. And I'm not sure about the XL. It's been a long time since I've had one of those. But either way, all the Manix 2 standard G10 models are made with these solid liners like this. This is the new Rex 45 model. So you can see there, we have a massive difference in the liners, huge weight relieving going on, which is a welcome change on this knife. So I'm going to show you the other side. There's the opposite liner. And same thing with this one. So there you go. Pretty big differences in those liners. So we have substantial weight saving going on here, just by way of weight relieving in the liners, which is really fantastic. I was really happy to see that. I did not know that it was going to be like that, but like I said, it's a welcome change for sure. So then I just rotate the liner around, and then the scale, snap it back together like so, and then you can drop your screws in. Now, you do need multiple different drivers when working on a Manix. So these body screws are what's actually holding in the support piece for the ball lock assembly. Those screws are T8, and the pivot screw is a T10, and the clip screws are T6. So you need a 6, 8, and 10 to disassemble the Manix. And you can see here, action is stellar. Zero blade play. Just an awesome, awesome knife. Really, really enjoy the Manix. Okay, so we are going to install this new titanium ball cage, which you can see here. You see that little lip on the bottom? You can see it right there, and then it's not on this side here. So you can see the ball will sit down in there and not drop all the way through. That has to be pointed down or towards the blade. There's one more thing that we have to do to get this ball cage out of here, and let me close the blade back up. What we want to do is pull this front screw right here on the opposite side. We want to make sure the back one is tight, and then pull the front one out. Just like that. So this is the state that your knife will be in to replace this ball cage. And then at this point, the way I do this is I start to open the blade a little bit, and make sure you hold on to this ball cage because you don't want things to go flying. It is under spring pressure. And then you can see here that I've rotated this backspacer up slightly. And what that allows for is a little bit of space where I can lift the blade off of the pivot. Oh, this one's not very tight on the backside on that lanyard tube. So I just want to lift this up, maybe. Just like that. All right, so then I got my ball cage and spring and the ball in one hand and the blade in the other. And so you can see there's your coil spring, the ball cage, and there's your ball bearing. So you can transfer the, oop. Wow, that was close. There we go. Now we got it rack. We can transfer the ball bearing. You can see that it'll sit right in there and not fall out. And then you need to put your spring on, like so. Here's the blade. You can see there we've got a couple holes in the blade that I do not think were in the S30V blade, but I'm sure those are just for fixturing. I'll clean that nasty stuff off there. Actually, I'm going to grab something here to clean that up. Perfect. You'd think I'd be prepared for this, but okay. I'll clean this side up a little bit. Now, on the Manix, the washers are captured by the pivot. So this washer will not come out or come off without pulling that screw out there. But there's really no reason to take it off. So we're just going to go ahead and leave it right where it's at. And reassemble this guy. So I am going to put a little tiny dab of oil, just a tiny bit, just right on the pivot. I'm using just KPL, standard KPL, and that's it. Just a tiny amount on there. Lost my spring. And so now what we're going to do is attempt to put this back together with the ball, and then get the spring pushed in there like that. And then once you get everything pushed down like so, you can push this guy back into its location. And once you get that screw in there, then you're back to a safe place where everything is captured and can't really come out. So let me get that done real quick. Okay. So this is the state that we're in. The ball cage is in, and we do have it in the correct orientation. If I can show that off, you can see that little tab is on the bottom side. And I guess tab isn't the best word for it, but that little piece that's covering up a portion of the ball, that needs to be pointed towards the open side of the knife, or the blade side. And then I'm going to put another tiny dab of lube right there. And we'll throw this washer back on. Just like that. And then we'll rotate the scale and the liner back around, up and over, and snap it down. Now the pivot on this knife is D-shaped, so you do want to make sure that your liners are seated all the way onto the pivot. And so the pivot barrel is in the correct orientation. And then we can throw these screws back in. Like so. Now, that pivot, if you noticed, the pivot is shouldered, so you can just tighten up the pivot screws and the action should be perfect, which is a beautiful thing. Yeah, feels good. Man, that titanium ball cage is just an excellent upgrade for the Manix. I love the Manix regardless, but the plastic ball cage, the traction on it is not stellar. It's fine. It's usable. And I never realized how much this was going to help until I actually had it in hand. This wasn't something that I really complained about before until Flytanium came out with these ball cages. And I just decided to give one a try, you know, listening to other people talk about how great they were. And man, after I got one, the traction on it is just so much nicer. So yeah. So now we've got a CPM Rex 45 Shaman with the orange scales and a Flytanium bowl cage. All right, guys, that's about all I had for your face balls today. Thanks a lot. Oh, I guess I do have one other Spyderco sitting here, so just for some size representation or comparison, there it is up against the Delica 4, and we'll bring the Shaman back out here. So you can see there that you know, the Manix is a pretty good size knife. I'm not going to run through all the specs. You know, the Manix is something that's been around for a really long time. But there you go, guys. That's what I had for your face balls today. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll catch you next time. Thanks.